Hello friends, today we are going to have a discussion on the definition and nature of international law. In our discussion, we are going to illustrate or explain certain points or headings. First of which being the necessity of international law. Why international law became a necessity. Then we will discuss the aims or objectives of international law, then certain definitions given by various jurists, and then the nature of international law. Is it truly a law or not? So, to begin with the necessity of international law. See, in ancient times the interaction among societies or states was not a frequent or common phenomenon, but eventually due to technological advancement, scientific development, industrial revolution, and above all the emergence of the concept of nation state brought the societies or nations or states close to each other. This closeness or interactions gave rise to a particular type of relationship, and the relationship among the nations needed to be regulated. So, the law or the body of principles or rules which started regulating the conduct or relationship among nations or states or societies came to be known as international law, which is also known as law of nations or transnational law. Dr. Jenks also said it to be the law of mankind or the common law of mankind, though it was Sir Jeremy Bentham who for the first time coined the term international law in the year 1789. Moving on to our next point, that is the aims or objectives of international law. International law has got two basic aims or objectives. Number one, it tries to ensure international peace and security, and number two, it tries to promote the friendly relationship among the members of United Nations organization. Now, third broad heading, definition of international law. Various jurists have defined international law in their own unique ways. First definition we are going to discuss was given by Professor L. Oppenheim. He said that law of nations or international law is the name for the body of customary and conventional rules which are considered legally binding by civilized states in their intercourse with each other. The second definition was given by Charles G. Fenwick. He said that international law is the body of general principles and specific rules which are binding upon the members of international community in their mutual relations. The third definition was given by Torsten Gill. He said that international law means the body of rules which apply within the international community or society of states. So, these are some of the important definitions given by jurists. Now, moving on to our fourth broad heading, that is whether international law is truly a law or not. See, there are two competing views or two conflicting theories on the point. One view says that international law is not a law, while the other view says that international law is a law. So, first there is a group of scholars or jurists. These scholars say that international law is not a law. Prominent among these jurists are John Austin, Jeremy Bentham, Jethro Brown, Holland, Hobbes and Pufendorf. Austin said that international law is not a true law, it is a mere positive morality consisting of opinions or sentiments which are current among nations generally. It is oftenly asked that who said international law is a mere positive morality. It was Austin. He said that international law is a mere positive morality and it is not a law in a strict sense. You can also remember that Austin, while he classified law, he said that laws can basically be classified into laws properly so called and laws improperly so called, and he kept international law in the category of laws improperly so called. Then coming to our discussion, Holland said that international law is the vanishing point of jurisprudence. Why he said that international law is vanishing point of jurisprudence? Because a legal system or a law requires three basic ingredients: legislature, that is the law making authority or law making organ, then executive, the law implementing organ, and judiciary, the law adjudicating organ. Holland said international law cannot be kept in the category of law because it lacks sanction. There is no punishment, there is no element of punishment in international law if it is violated. That is why he said that international law is the vanishing point of jurisprudence. Now, considering the other view which says that international law is a law, the prominent of there are many jurists and the main supporters of this view are Sir Frederick Pollock, Pitt Cobbett, Hall and Lawrence. Pitt Cobbett said that international law must rank with law and not with morality. Hall and Lawrence said that international law has been habitually treated and enforced as a municipal law. So, now to sum up or to conclude, what will be our conclusion after considering both the views, whether what will be our opinion, is international law truly a law or not? Now, if we can prove or if we can show that all the three organs are present in international law, then it can be a law, it can be said to be a law. Now, legislature, executive and judiciary. To put it simply, for our discussion, General Assembly can be said to be a true replica of world legislature. Security Council may correctly be considered to be the executive wing of international law. And talking about judiciary, we have so many important judicial authorities under international law, like ICJ, International Court of Justice, ICC, International Criminal Court. We have the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. We have Tokyo Tribunal. We have the International Yugoslavia Tribunal. We have the Nuremberg Tribunal for war crimes. So, as a whole, international law nowadays can be kept in the category of law. Up to this for now.